In the month of February, Great Tusk was the #1 most used Pokemon with a whopping 57% usage rate. This isn't just an outlier either. Great Tusk has been #1 for several months now, with 45% usage in January and 43% usage in December. These usage rates rival the famous Landorus T of previous generations. What makes Great Tusk so common, and why isn't it banworthy? The fundamental idea is that Great Tusk is a good Pokemon with versatility and consistency. To be the #1 most used Pokemon, you have to have both. Also, it has Rapid Spin, but we'll get to that later. So what makes Great Tusk a good Pokemon? For one, its stat distribution is pretty good. Low special attack doesn't mean anything, and low special defense is admittedly a liability. You do have to watch out for that. For example, we've seen Dragon Dance Dragonite actually use Hurricane on its moveset. It's counterintuitive to use a special attack on a physical Dragon Dancing Pokemon, but the move is purely to beat Great Tusk. Other than that main weakness, it's all pretty good. Great Tusk has an excellent HP stat, attack and defense stat, and a usable speed stat. Offensively, ground and fighting is a great way to break an opponent, and Great Tusk has high base power moves and headlong rush and close combat. The combination of the high attack stat and the high powered moves limit the amount of Pokemon that can take on Great Tusk. Then it has great utility with knockoff and coverage moves like Ice Spinner to hit flying type Pokemon. But the key move is Rapid Spin. Rapid Spin has two main functions. One is that it removes hazards. Go, another top Pokemon in the tier, can block the move Defog with its ability, making Rapid Spin the most reliable way to get hazards off the field. Great Tusk is the best Pokemon with hazard removal, and notably can threaten Go with a one-hit KO from a ground type move. This deters Go from trying to switch in to block Rapid Spin with its Ghost typing, and Great Tusk is the most reliable hazard removal in the game. The second reason is that the speed boost from Rapid Spin lets you patch up Great Tusk's average speed stat. Hazard removal is a valuable role, and with Great Tusk, its hazard removing has natural synergy with what it tries to do anyway. You're not awkwardly jamming hazard removal onto a Pokemon, it fits naturally on Great Tusk. The Rapid Spin aspect is arguably the most important part of Great Tusk's high usage. It's the only good Rapid Spin Pokemon, and Rapid Spinning is an important role. End of story. Other options like Iron Treads are mediocre Pokemon overall, and Defog doesn't work. As a sweeping Pokemon, Great Tusk has Bulk Up. Bulk Up and Rapid Spin with 2 attacks can get out of hand quickly, and it can be scary to fight with Terrestrialization. Any Terrestrialization type works here, but some interesting ones are Terra Fire to be immune to burn while also taking out top threats like Volcarona and Iron Valiant. As a utility Pokemon, Paradox Donphan has moves like Stealth Rock and Taunt, and as a defensive Pokemon, Great Tusk has great defensive stats and some nice moves like Body Press. Even Assault Vest Great Tusk is a great option because it patches up the low special defense while not interfering with the Rapid Spin idea. Eject Pack Great Tusk is also used as an offensive pivot where you can throw off a powerful attack and then switch out to a different Pokemon. Great Tusk's high defense and typing let it take on some of the most powerful Pokemon in the tier like King Gambit and Roaring Moon, and its offenses let it break Pokemon like Garganacl. Honestly, if you really wanted to, you could even use it on a Sun team because of its ability. All these different movesets and ideas contribute to Great Tusk's versatility. The only constant is Rapid Spin, and you can choose a different EV spread and moveset and Great Tusk becomes a different Pokemon. If your team needs an offensive Great Tusk, you can do that. If your team needs a defensive Great Tusk, you can do that too. If you need a sweeper Great Tusk or you want to add Stealth Rock to your offensive Great Tusk, you can do that as well. There's a lot of customization, and Great Tusk can fit on any team structure and any playstyle from offense to stall. But versatility alone is not what makes it the #1 Pokemon. As I mentioned earlier, it's also the consistency. Great Tusk is a consistently good Pokemon and will always be a positive presence in the game because of its utility. Strong moves are always going to be strong moves, and they'll give you good value by at the very least whittling down the opponent. But more than that, even if your opponent has all the Great Tusk counters, Great Tusk will always provide value with the moves Knockoff and Rapid Spin. Even Pokemon that beat Great Tusk don't like getting their item knocked off. Even in a bad matchup, Great Tusk can still be used as hazard removal. These attributes are best shown with the example of Bulk Up Great Tusk. Even if Bulk Up Great Tusk doesn't have a sweepable matchup, it can still provide value by removing Stealth Rock and Spikes. Because of Great Tusk's raw power, it can also reliably get up Stealth Rock and be threatening to most Pokemon that try to defog or Rapid Spin. The bottom line is that Great Tusk ends up doing stuff even in bad matchups. Even if one avenue isn't working for it, like its offensive capabilities, it can still find value in its defensive capabilities and vice versa. All of this while still having utility moves like Knockoff. Most Pokemon either have one or the other, and Great Tusk has a combination of versatility and consistency, which is what you need for a number 1 Pokemon. Naturally though, the question is, why isn't Great Tusk considered ban-worthy? Isn't it toxic to see Great Tusk on 50% of teams? That's a similar sentiment to Landorus T of previous generations. The main idea for why it isn't ban-worthy is that Great Tusk isn't overpowered to stop. It doesn't have a recovery move and its special defense is exploitable. It's getting high usage not because it's unstoppable, but because of its high utility. Those are two different things. A Pokemon being used a lot isn't inherently a bad thing. Usage rates are a symptom and not a disease, and if the cause of a high usage rate is that it's an unstoppable Pokemon, then it's bad. But if a cause is that Pokemon is versatile, who really cares? A high utility Pokemon getting usage is getting that usage as a reaction to the metagame. It's not a constricting force on what you try to do. My opponent using Great Tusk doesn't make the game less fun because there are plenty of ways to beat it. It doesn't restrict my own strategies. That's the main idea. Question of the day, who do you think has been more impactful? Landorus in Gen 8 or Great Tusk in Gen 9?